Zimbabwe is now the hottest country on the continent, and Dangote is the proof that has arrived. In a moment, I'm going to tell you the 10 most important people that every investor wants to meet in Zimbabwe and why. But first, you need to understand where we are as a country. Because something just happened. Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, not a small player, not a regional explorer, the man who moves markets across continents. He came to Zimbabwe. Not for a photo op, not a diplomatic visit, not a we'll explore opportunities kind of thing. He came because Zimbabwe became impossible to ignore. Of course, we have to give Josie Mahachi her flowers, the girl who was the middleman in the whole deal. This is the moment that matters, and the moment where the deal becomes true. Josie Mahachi put together what should be an impossible task if Mnangagwa wasn't doing so good. Now, Zimbabwe was always looked down upon until the world finally saw the blow that is always there, that Zimbabwe is a bride to reckon with. If you want to understand Zimbabwe's story, you actually should look at Josie Mahachi herself. She's like a big sister to me. I grew up with her. Her family is a family of gifted women. In the neighborhood, everybody always underestimated Josie Mahachi. Until one day, she reappeared. Not dating powerful men, not hanging around them, but valuable enough to move them. Sitting across Aliko Dangote, bringing the richest men to Zimbabwe through competence and presence. That is Zimbabwe's story too. Beautiful, misunderstood, undervalued, until the value catches the eye of the world's elite. And then Dangote came. Now, somebody had to prepare the bride. And here's what people don't want to say out loudly. Zimbabwe didn't prepare herself. We were a mess, an absolute mess. Someone prepared her. Every biblical bride is a custodian. Like Esther had Mordecai, Ruth had Naomi. The bride always has someone who prepares her for the throne. For Zimbabwe, that custodian was Emerson Mnangagwa. People mocked him, they doubted him, they laughed at him, they predicted disaster. They prayed for his failure. But while they were tweeting, he was preparing Zimbabwe the bride to present it to the world so the world can bring value. He did what Mugabe never had the courage or discipline to do. He removed the old guard, the old power brokers who scared off investors, who were holding the country hostage in Poko, Obejim Pofu, Chombo, Zhuawu, Udenge. They're gone. They're not recycled, not redeployed, removed. Zimbabwe stopped being run like a liberation museum. She was being prepared now for the world stage. And the world noticed. When the world noticed, it moved. China moved first. They moved on value and on sentiment. The Gulf invested next. Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, sovereign funds looking for strong partnerships. Regional investors positioned themselves. South Africa, Kenya, Malawi. Western capital quietly sneaked in through Dubai and Mauritius structures because they understand that the structures are now in place. The diaspora money is falling back. The IMF has whitelisted us, put Zimbabwe on the rocket launcher. The West has begun to pay a notice. Global firms have started arriving, even before Dangote. But let me explain the Dangote moment. This is validation at scale. This is not metaphor. This is not hope. Aliko Dangote doesn't come to weak countries. She doesn't explore weak currencies. He doesn't consider weak politics. Dangote came because, number one, Josie Mahachi did a fantastic job. But Zimbabwe's minerals are real. The lithium is real, the gold, the platinum, the copper. Zimbabwe's policy framework has shifted from chaos to discipline. Zimbabwe's leadership has evolved from liberation theater to world-class technocrats. Zimbabwe's currency is now backed by tangible assets. Gold, not hope, not sentiment. Gold. When you are Aliko Dangote, you don't just fly across the continent unless the numbers make sense, unless the risk-reward is locked. Dangote coming means the smartest money on the continent sees what we're building, and is not alone. This is the critical part. Dangote is a signal, not the storm. When the wealthiest men in Africa validate a market, others begin to move. The second wave is already here. Battery manufacturing is touring our lithium reserves because the world's electric future runs on our rocks. The African Development Bank has activated our infrastructure lines. They only finance countries that have momentum. Saudi and Qatari sovereign funds are exploring energy partnerships because they read the room and they know where Africa's next growth is going to be locked. South African corporates are re-entering because they've felt the energy shift. Asian sovereign wealth funds are exploring mining deep water because they know Zimbabwe's minerals haven't been touched. Zimbabwe is no longer auditioning for the world's attention. Others will bring capital, technology, markets, partnerships. The moment Zimbabwe chooses the right partners, the moment she marries the right vision, her value locks, her direction becomes fixed, her leverage peaks. This is the threshold moment. There is now 10 people that every serious investor wants to meet, not because they're famous, because they actually move the levers that determine whether Zimbabwe captures this moment or it misses it. Above everybody, above all of them, is Pudakwashe Tagwirei. He's the state's most influential economic partner. His network spans fuel mining, agriculture, logistics, capital mobilization. There is no major investor that ignores him. Dangote certainly won't. He's ranked above everyone because he stands in a league of his own. Number two is Opsilia Mnangagwa, the First Lady. She is the social legitimacy engine. Her diplomacy, her stability, her optics. She's a humanitarian narrative. She's an administrative stability in the life of the president. Number 3 is Ambassador Hubert Angel, the presidential envoy. He's Zimbabwe's most globally connected investment diplomat. If you're Dangote and you need to understand how fast Zimbabwe moves, Hubert Angel is how you find out. He unlocks sovereign network value and foreign capital better than anybody else. Number 4 is discipline, international credibility, technical clarity, the most trusted public sector figure for investors. If you're Dangote, George is how you know the money won't disappear. Next comes the tier of capital and sector power. Wikinochivayo, the energy and infrastructure investor, fast-moving, politically connected capital player, bold projects proximity to the first family. When investors want to know which direction the opportunity is headed, they watch what Wikino is building. Next on the line is Scott Sakopwanyi, the gold industry broker, dominant force in Zimbabwe's gold ecosystem, in refining and exporting, in resource diplomacy, essential to mining investors. If you're sourcing gold in the region, Scott is a non-negotiable. Next is the engineering power of John Masharan, the RBZ governor, the man shaping the currents, monetary stability, monetary policy, the financial climate. Investors depend on him to price risk and plan long-term capital. The gold-backed currency, John is executing that vision. Financial inclusion, that is George. Then you have Martin Rushwire, the president's chief of staff, smart, silent technocrat. He's very sharp on mineral policy, very sharp on state procurement, very sharp on defense coordination, strategic national projects, one of ED's most trusted operators. If something moves in government, Martin was thinking about it first. Next, you have Tino Machakaire, the Minister of Youth, the absolute rising power and the most important young person in Zimbabwe, the man responsible for the youth pouch. And then you have Josima Hachi, the diplomatic connector and presidential envoy, high-level relationship architect, very good with global networking. Her credibility moves people like Dangote, so she knows how to get the right introductions. That is the list of the 10 people who are going to matter the most. But now, the behavior of the moment. Here is the final test. Dangote came because we prepared the bride, but the bride's value only locks if she chooses well and stays disciplined. Policy consistency matters. Discipline matters. Clear direction matters. Because when a country becomes valuable, she attracts lovers and predators. The villain class emerges. Foreign powers that prefer a weak Zimbabwe. Black market millionaires, corrupt lobbies, internal factions that lost access, saboteurs, cartels, geopolitical gamblers. They whisper sweet deals. They bring poison disguised as perfume. Zimbabwe's test is this. Attention is not affection. Interest is not commitment. The wrong partner can destroy everything that's been built. But we have a custodian who understands this. We have technocrats who won't bend. We have a vision that is locked. And Dangote just validated it. Dangote is the first domino, not the last. Well done to Josie for bringing Dangote. Well done to the establishment for passing the litmus test of can investors take Zimbabwe seriously again. Until next time.